On September 16, 2019, 5-year-old Dulce Maria Alavez was playing on the swings at Bridgeton City Park in New Jersey. Her mother was parked just 30 yards away, looking down at a lottery ticket and helping a relative with homework. When she looked up a few minutes later, the swings were empty, her 3-year-old son was crying alone, and Dulce was completely gone. There were no screams and no signs of a struggle. It was a fast, silent abduction that triggered a massive federal investigation and hunt for a mysterious red van. Dulce Maria Alavez was 5 years old when she disappeared. She lived in Bridgeton, New Jersey, a small city with a large, tight-knit Hispanic community. Dulce was an energetic, happy kid who loved ice cream, bright colors, and playing outside. She was very close with her mother, Dulce Alavez Perez, who was 19 and pregnant at the time. To everyone who knew her, Dulce was a normal, sweet little girl who completely trusted adults. She loved animals, drawing, and spending time with her extended family. Her family described her as a shy child around strangers, but incredibly vocal and joyful when she was safe at home. It was this natural innocence that investigators fear may have been weaponized against her by someone who knew exactly how to exploit a child's trust. The disappearance happened around 4 p.m. on a Monday. After stopping for ice cream, Dulce took Dulce and her 3-year-old brother to the park to play. She stayed in her car while the kids ran ahead to the playground area. From where Dulce parked, her view of the swings was partially blocked by trees and park layout. While the kids played, Dulce remained inside the vehicle with her younger sister. It was a classic scene of everyday multitasking. Dulce was helping her sister with homework while focusing on a scratch-off lottery ticket. This period of split attention went on for about 10 to 15 minutes. Around 5 p.m., Dulce went over to gather the kids. She found her 3-year-old son standing alone by the swings, holding his ice cream cone and crying. When she asked him where Dulce went, the toddler could only point toward the tree line at the edge of the park. Dulce searched the immediate area, screaming her daughter's name, and called family members to help look before finally calling the police. The Bridgeton Police Department immediately treated the situation as a critical emergency. Over 30 officers, along with K-9 units and state troopers, combed through the woods next to the park. They found nothing, no dropped items, footprints, and physical clues. Because the park was a public space, detectives interviewed everyone who had been in the area that afternoon. This is where the case got its first major lead. A witness reported seeing a light-skinned Hispanic male, about 5 feet 8 inches tall, walking near the playground right around the time Dulce vanished. A witness also reported seeing a bright red van with tinted windows parked near the playground during that exact window. Police believed the driver of this red van either abducted Dulce or saw exactly who did. An Amber Alert was issued, and a statewide hunt for the vehicle began. However, local traffic cameras failed to capture a license plate, and despite checking hundreds of red vans across the state of New Jersey, the vehicle seemed to have vanished into thin air. As the days turned into weeks without a single trace of Dulce, the public's focus began to shift. In many missing child cases, the family is investigated first, and Dulce Alavez Perez found herself under intense scrutiny from both law enforcement and the community. Rumors and fierce online backlash began to target the 19-year-old mother. People questioned why she stayed in the car, why she was playing a lottery ticket instead of watching her kids, and why there was a delay before the Amber Alert was officially issued. Behind closed doors, investigators put Dulce through grueling, hours-long interrogations. She voluntarily took a polygraph test administered by the FBI. Law enforcement also tracked down and questioned Dulce's biological father, who was living in Mexico, to see if a custodial dispute could have motivated a parental kidnapping. The community became deeply divided. While many neighbors held candlelit vigils and marched in the streets demanding justice for Dulce, others openly accused the family of hiding information. The pressure became so intense that the family had to publicly plead with the community to stop the harassment and focus on finding the little girl. Police eventually clarified that Dulce was cooperating fully with the investigation and was not considered a suspect, but the emotional damage to the family was already done. As months passed with no sign of Dulce, the reward for information grew to $52,000. The case gained massive national attention, featuring on major programs like Dr. Phil and In Pursuit with John Walsh. However, the massive publicity brought an onslaught of false tips and internet trolls that derailed the investigation. In 2020, a rumor exploded on social media claiming that Dulce's body had been found in a local body of water. It caused widespread panic in Bridgeton and devastated the family before police had to officially step in and announce that the rumor was completely fake. The biggest and most baffling distraction happened in February 2021. Authorities received a series of 3 anonymous handwritten letters sent from Austintown, Ohio, hundreds of miles away from New Jersey. The final letter was mailed directly to a local Ohio ice cream shop, claiming Dulce was being held in a specific location in the area. New Jersey detectives flew to Ohio, teamed up with local police, and launched targeted searches of the properties mentioned. After days of investigation, they determined the letters were a cruel, elaborate hoax. The lead was a complete dead end, wasting valuable time and resources. With no physical evidence and the trail going cold, the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit stepped in to construct a profile of the perpetrator. They needed to understand how a child could disappear so quickly without anyone seeing a struggle. FBI Special Agent Daniel Garabrandt concluded that this was a textbook crime of opportunity. The FBI's profile suggested that the kidnapper hadn't just gotten lucky. He had likely been staking out the park, waiting for a vulnerable, unsupervised target. He watched the playground, noticed the mother was distracted in her car, and realized the children were out of her direct line of sight. He used that exact 10-minute window of distraction to grab Dulce and slip away into the vehicle before anyone could react. The profile indicated the suspect was likely familiar with the park's layout and its escape routes. Years went by, and investigators had to face the reality that Dulce was aging. The little 5-year-old girl with the missing front teeth was growing up somewhere out of sight. In 2021, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children released age-progressed photos showing what Dulce would look like at 7 years old. By 2025, authorities took a more advanced step, using artificial intelligence to project her appearance as an older child, factoring in her family's genetics and natural aging patterns. These updated images looked completely different from the little girl the public remembered. It changed the entire focus of what searchers were looking for, presenting a haunting reminder that time was rapidly slipping away. Today, the disappearance of Dulce Maria Alavez remains an active missing person and suspected kidnapping case. The Bridgeton Police Department, the New Jersey State Police, and the FBI still keep the case on high priority, but they admit there are currently no strong suspects. The red van was never found. The light-skinned man seen near the playground has never been identified, and no physical evidence has ever been recovered from Bridgeton City Park. Dulce has been missing for years. Her room remains exactly as she left it, and her family is still waiting for answers, forever haunted by a 10-minute window of time on a Monday afternoon that changed everything.